4 years ago, I uploaded a simple HTML and CSS website tutorial. That video reached millions of learners around the world, and it became the first step for so many beginners stepping into the world of the web design. But there was something missing. While the design worked perfectly for the time, the technology moved on. We need modern CSS, we need better layouts, we need better colors, and yeah, a mobile friendliness. So here it is, the new and improved version of that beloved website. But now, with the modern Flexbox property, cooler color contrast, updated text, and a design that works perfectly on any device from your laptop to your phone. If you love this old tutorial, you are going to love this one even more. And if you're just starting your HTML and CSS journey, this is the perfect up-to-date version to kickstart your skills. Alright, enough talking. Let's dive in and start building your first responsive website. So first of all, what we'll do here is we'll create a new folder in the desktop. Okay, just go to the desktop, then create a new folder. Okay, then after creating a new folder, you can name it like web design 2025. Okay, so after creating a web design, here's your web design. Okay, so this space is empty, so you have to download the required background image from the video description. So let me tell you. So come to the more option, then as you can see, here is a background image. Just click onto this link and then you can download the background image. Okay, so after downloading your background image, it will come over here, that is 1.jpg. so then after then you have to cut the background image, then come back to the web design, then paste it over here, web design. Okay, so here is your background image on the web design 2025. So after doing this, we need to open our Visual Studio Code or any source code editor that you have in your laptop. Okay, so how to open it? So to open the Visual Studio Code or any source code editor, you need to click Shift plus right click. Then if you see this open with the code, you can directly click over here, open with the code. And if you do not see this option, you need to go to over here. Okay, then press the CMD on the top over here. Okay, then press enter. That will open your command prompt. So after opening your command prompt, you just need to type CODE code. Okay, and then press space and then press full stop, then press the enter. Okay, after pressing code space full stop enter, it will open your Visual Studio Code. Okay, so as you can see, it is our web design 2025 has been opened in our Visual Studio Code. This is our source code editor. So after opening this one, you need to create a HTML file and a style.css file. So to create an index.html file, you just click over here into the new file over here. Okay, and then you can type the index.html. okay, after typing the index.html, you can just create a exclamation mark, then press enter. It will open your doc type HTML. Okay, the format. Then you can change the name to web design 2025 by PROROZ. Okay, so change the title by anything that you liked. Okay, and then what we'll do here is we'll add a style.css that will be first create here in the new file. So, okay, so what we'll do here is create a style.css. So after creating the style.css, you need to link the style.css with index.html. So to link the style.css with index.html, just come back just below the title, just click link, then come over here under the third option. It is colon CSS. So it will directly link the HTML CSS with the style.css. Okay, so right now if we click to see how your page is looking, okay, so you click on the blank space over here and the HTML file, just click the right space and open with the live server. If you see this option, open with the live server, or here's a go live on the bottom, click to run the live server, then it is okay. You can directly click over here and click on the open with the live server. Or if you do not see this option, you can go to the extension. Okay, and you can search for the live server. Okay, after searching for the live server, click onto the first one and then you can enable it, you can install it and enable it. Okay, then it will directly refresh your page, okay, and then you can see this one open with the live server option. Then click on the open with the live server. So as you can see, the page is completely empty right now, and we need to make a page to look like this one, okay. Right now we have a page that is completely empty. So come back to the index.html, okay. What we'll do here is we'll first create a div with the class of the main, okay. So we'll create a div with the class of the main, okay. Now what we'll do here is we'll work on the main for the first part in the style.css, okay. So to work under the style.css, come to the style.css. So what we'll do here is we don't want our font, okay. So first of all, let me show you. We don't want our hello. So right now the text and the font family that we have here is completely different, and we do not want this font family in our whole website. We want this font over here. So to get this font, we need to import the font from the Google font, okay. So to get the Google font, we need to go to the search the Google font, okay. And after searching for the Google font, just click onto the first link here over here, that is a browse font, Google font. Then after clicking onto the browse font, you need to search here for the Lato, okay. And then after searching for this latter font, then click onto the get font over here, then click onto the get embedded code, then click onto the @import. And after clicking onto the @import, you can just copy this one. You don't need to copy the whole style.css part, okay. Then after copying the import part, you come back to the style.css, okay, then just paste it over here. You can now your font will be changed. Now to change the font, first of all, we'll work on the universal one, okay. We will remove the auto margin. As you can see, the margin was over here. It has a self margin, that is auto margin, and we'll also remove the auto padding, that will be 0 as well. And we'll have a box sizing of the border box, okay. Now we'll change the font to the whole body, okay. So universal, that is, okay. To change the whole body, we'll just do here is Lato. So we change this font family to the Lato, okay. So it has changed to the different font, as you can see, okay. So okay, so after doing this, so we can just remove this one, okay, and we can work back to the class main. So to work onto the class main, what we'll do here is we'll write a dot that represents the class, okay, and we'll give a width of the 100% first of all, and we'll give a minimum height of the 100 vh, that is a vertical height, okay. And now what we'll do here is we'll set a background. So we'll set this background, okay. So to set this background, what we'll do here is we'll just write a background, then we'll add a URL 1.jpg. So as you can see, so our background is over here, and it is not well done over here. So we need to manage this one, okay. So to manage this one, first of all, we'll add some linear gradient as well, that will make our thing much more better, okay. So we'll just change the color with the format, okay. So 76 with the 0.5, and then RGBA, that is red, green, blue, and alpha, okay. So red R represents the red, green G represents the green, B represents the blue, and then the A represents the alpha, okay. That is opacity. So after doing this, what we'll do here is we'll add a URL, that is 1.jpg. So after adding a 1.jpg URL, okay, what we'll do here is now we'll just read a background of the no repeat, okay. Then we'll have a background with the center, background position center, or and then background size will be cover, okay. So after doing this, just save the one, and you can see the change. Yeah, so it looks beautiful, just like this one over here. You can see the change. Now we just need to add navigation bar and contents and a login box, okay. So it looks perfectly beautiful. Yeah, so what we'll do here now is we'll add a display with a flex, so we can work better. using the flex property. As I've already told you, we are using a flex property for this one. Okay, we'll use a flex direction, that would be column. Okay, so right now we have worked onto the div with the class main. Okay, now we can work onto the navbar section. So to this navbar section, so to work onto this navbar section, we need to come back to the index.html, then come back over here. We'll create a div with the class of the navbar. Okay, so after that, what we'll need is we'll need a logo. For that, we'll first add a icon, that is an inside icon. We'll add a h2 tag with the class of the, let's call it logo. You can add an icon by yourself as well, or if you do not have any logo, you can add your name. Okay, let's say I am adding my channel name, that is PROROZ over here, and as you can see, here's the PROROZ name, and this is our logo. Okay, so this is our logo, and now we'll need to add some menus just like this one: home, about, service, design, contact, and a search box. Okay, so to add this one, we need to come back to the index.html again. Okay, right after this right after this icon div, just come down below and then create a div with the class of the menu. Okay, so I'm trying to teach you as simple as possible. Okay, so if you have any question related with my tutoring or any question related with my teaching, you can say in the comment, or you can directly DM me through the Instagram that is provided in the video description as well. Okay, so we'll create a on order list. Okay, then inside we'll create a list. So what we'll do here is we'll create a list with the anchor tag. Okay, so what we'll do here is we'll just copy and paste this 5 times. Okay, now what we'll write a home, about, service, okay, and design, and then contact. Okay, so after writing this, as you can see, here's our navbar sections as well. Okay, so after working onto this menu and working onto this logo, come back to the style.css. Now we'll work onto the navbar sections. So come back to the style.css. So now we'll work under the class navbar. Okay, so what we'll do here is we'll add a width of the 90% only. We'll have a max width that will be 200 pixels. Okay, and we'll have a margin that will be auto, and then we'll add a display that would be flex as well, and an align item that would be center, that will put our items on the center, and then we'll have a justify content of the space between. Okay, and then we'll add a position that would be relative, and then we'll have a flex wrap. Okay, we'll have a flex wrap, and that would be wrap. Okay, so what this will do is it will allow wrapping on the smaller screen. Okay, so when we shrink our screen, it will just wrap around like this one. Okay, so from top to bottom. Okay, so yeah, we can work perfectly. So here's our logo, and here's our navbar next section. Okay, so now what we'll do here is now we'll work onto the class icon, and then class logo, inside class logo. Okay, so yeah, what we'll do here is we'll add a color that would be 06D6A0, and then we'll add a font size of the 35 pixels, and then we'll add a cursor that would be pointer. So this is our navbar logo. Okay, so this is our logo, and yeah, and this is our logo over here. Okay, so it might look big right now, but it will be balanced when we have a full website done. Okay, so now after working onto the class logo part, we'll now work onto the class menu and on order list and the list part. Okay, so come below. Okay, now we'll work onto the class menu with on order list. Okay, now we'll have a display of the flex. Okay, then we'll have a gap of the 30 pixels, then we'll have a flex wrap that would be wrap again, that will wrap menu items if screen is smaller. Okay, that I've already mentioned earlier. So it is working. Okay, getting balanced. As the screen size is smaller, it looks like that. Okay, if the screen size is bigger, it will look like this. Okay, so let me give you an example. So here's the screen size. Okay, and if the screen looks smaller, it will get wrapped. Okay, as you can see, it will get wrapped like this. So this should be a perfect example for you to understand what we are doing over here. Okay, so yeah, so after doing this, now we'll work on the dot menu with under another list with the list tag. Okay, now what we'll do here is we'll add a list style of the none, so it should remove. Then we'll add a menu with the on other list with the list and anchor tag. Now we will remove the text decoration, that would be none, so it would remove the underline. Now we'll add a color, that would be white, and then we'll add some font weight, that would be bold, and then we'll add a transition. Okay, so before adding transition, we need to add menu ULLIA. We'll have a hover effect first of all, and that hover effect will be color FFD166. So this is our hovering effect, just like over here. This is our hover effect. The screen size is smaller, so it is looking like this. Okay, so the hover effect is like this, and we will add some transition, then it will look much more better. 0.3 seconds. Okay, so it is looking much more better now. So after working onto this menu bar, now we'll need a search bar. So now what we'll do here is after the menu sections, we'll just create another div that is for the search bar. Okay, and then what we'll do here is we'll add a input section that will have a type of the search. Okay, and then we'll remove these all, and we'll also add a class called srch. Okay, and then we'll add a placeholder. What we'll do here is type to search. Okay, so it will okay, let me give you. Okay, so here's a type to search. Okay, so here's our type to search. Now we'll add a button to search. So to add a button, we'll add a button with the class of the btn, and then we'll here is search. So here's our search button as well. Okay, so they are looking perfect right now, for now, as I can say. So after working onto the div with the class of the search, okay, now we'll come back to the style.css again. Now we'll work over here. Okay, so here's our search bar. Now we'll work over here. So now what we'll do here is we'll type the search, that is our class. Okay, and then we'll give a display of the flex as well, and then we'll give a align item, that would be center. Okay, and then we'll give a gap of the 5 pixels only. Then we'll give a flex wrap, that would be wrap again. So let me give you one more example again. So here's a full screen if you want to see, and if we keep on shrinking, so it will shrink like this one. Okay, so yeah, and so this is how the flex property works. Okay, so this is we are making a responsive website, so you need to know all the flex property that we are doing over here. Okay, so yeah, after working on this thing, the class search, now we'll work on the srch part. Okay, and then we'll add a width, that is this one for the input, and we'll add a width of the 150 pixels. Okay, okay, let's see, srch, class srch, yeah. Okay, so now we'll add a max width, that would be 70 vw, that would be vertical width, and then we'll add a height, that would be 40 pixels. Okay, so here's our search bar that is changing its shape. Okay, and then we'll add a background, that would be transparent, and then we'll have a border. Okay, that would be 1 pixel solid, the same color as before, the color that we choose for our logo. okay, and then we'll add a color that would be completely white. So that is color is this one, okay. And then we'll add some paddings, okay, that would be 0 pixel and 10 pixels. Sorry, that would be 0 pixel, 0 and 10 pixels. And we'll add some border radius as well, that would be 5 pixels, 0, 0 and 5 pixels. Okay, so it is looking better. Here is a cornering and here is no cornering, okay. So top and bottom, left and right and left, okay. So after working onto this this one search, now we'll work onto the search button, okay. To work on the search button, we have created a class called btn. Then now we'll have a width of the 70 pixels, then we'll have a height of the 40 pixels, okay. And then we'll add a background color that would be similar to this one, and then we'll have a font width that would be bold, and we'll add a border that would be 1 pixels solid, this same color, and we'll add a border radius of the 0, 5 pixels, 5 pixels, 0. So just the different, okay. So there's a cornering on the left and there's a cornering on the right and there is no cornering on the between, so it will look better from my side. If you do not like that, you can just remove the border radius. Now we'll add some cursor that would be, we'll add a cursor that would be pointer. As you can see, the change in the pointer, okay. And now we'll add some transition. So before adding transition, we'll just do a btn that would be hover, and then we'll change the color of the background. At first we'll have a linear gradient, okay, that would be 90. So this one is so much good, okay. So if you learn how to do this, so you'll be considered a god, okay. So and then another one that is a EF476F, so change to this one, okay. And then we'll add a color that would be white, okay. Let me do it like this, hovering effect, and it is looking so good, I love this color, okay. So what we'll do here is we'll add some transition of the 0.3 as second as well. So you can see the changes, okay. So after doing this, now after we have worked on over up to this search bar, what we'll do here is now we'll work for the responsive part, okay, that is background responsive for tablet and phone part for our background, okay. So we need to change the perspective of this one, okay. So we need to make it for the responsive for our tablets and everything, okay. So let's say we have a iPad mini, so we have iPad Pro, okay. So we need to change the responsiveness for every part, okay. So to change, so we need to do some CSS, Pro CSS, that is core CSS, okay. And to do some core CSS, what we'll do here is now we'll work for the media, that would be max width of the 1024 pixels, okay. And then we'll work onto the main first, then we'll have a background position, that would be center, and then that would be top, okay. Then we'll have a background size, that would be cover, okay. Now we'll do the same for the different width of the pixels, okay. Now we'll just go down with the 920 pixels. Now we'll add a main of the same, we'll do the same, and then now we'll work for the search bar, and then the search input as well, there will be width will be 50%, okay. So you can work it like this one as well. so that would be easy to learn. Okay, and now we'll work onto the button as well. So we need to work onto the btn as well. We'll add a width of the 40% only. Okay, so after doing this, we need to work for the another part. Okay, just copy this one and come back over here, and then we'll work for 768 pixels. We need to end this one. The upper ones are same. Just change this one with the background attachment. Okay, background attachment, that would be scroll, and then rest are different. For the navbar sections, that would be flex direction would be column. Okay, and then we'll add a align items, that would be center. And we'll add an align item, that would be flex start. Okay, then we'll add some gap, that would be 10 pixels. Okay, by adding this, now we'll work onto the menu part, menu on other list. So what we are doing here is we are making our page completely fully responsive, and you are learning this. Okay, so you need to know how to do this part, so it will make our page 100% responsive. Now we'll add some gap, that would be 15 pixels. Okay, so after doing this, for this width, that is 768 pixels, is like around for a tablet. Okay, now we'll work onto the search bar. Okay, so that is search, then we'll have a width of the 100%. Okay, and then we'll add a justify content, that would be flex start as well. Now after doing this, we'll work on the search srcs, that is for our input. Okay, and for this input, we'll have a 70%. So this is like around 768. So right now we are on to this width, that is around 768. Okay, and then last for the btn button, and last for the btn, this is for our search button. So we need to reduce the size to the 25%. Okay, so so it is looking perfect for this size. Okay, so after working onto this one, we have to work for the smallest screen, that is for our mobile screen, that is 480 pixels. Okay, and that main same thing, background position would be center and top. And then now what we'll just need to work over here is for the srch, and then we'll have a width of the 65%. Okay, and then .btn, and then we'll have a width of the 30%. So what I'm saying here is as you will see, for the 480. So if I say my laptop screen is just like, okay, so it will not work like this. So let's say my phone screen. Okay, so this is my phone screen, and it is getting shrink over here, shrink. Okay, over like this. Okay, so 400, you can see the dimension change. Okay, so below the 480 pixel, what it'll do here is it will just change the size. Okay, okay, so after doing this, so what we'll do here again is now we'll add we don't want our navigation bar to look like this. We need to add a hamburger menu. So right over here, just like this one, the hamburger menu. Okay, so we don't want a menu to flex like this one. So to add a hamburger menu, you need to come back to the index.html. Okay, and to add your hamburger menu, so what we'll need to do first is to add the icon of the hamburger menu. We need to add a link from the Font Awesome. Okay, Font Awesome library. To come back to the browser, search for the font Awesome CDN. Okay, so then first then you'll need to click onto the first link, that is for the libraries. Okay, that is Font Awesome libraries. So what you'll need to do here is you just need to copy the URL from the first link, then come back to the index.html. Then after coming back to the index.html, you need to click onto the just right below the style.css. Okay, and then click the link. Then you need to paste the thing that you copied from over here, that is copy URL from over Font Awesome CDN. then paste it on the hyper reference in over here. Okay, so after copying the reference, you have a CDN file, and now you can directly work onto the hamburger menu. Okay, so right now I have a hamburger menu just like this one over here, the three dotted part. So if you want another types of hamburger menu, you can search it on the font awesome. Okay, just click onto the font awesome, then click onto the first link over here. So these are the icons, you can select as many as you want. Okay, so you can search over here many things, like I want a menu, so you can search for the menu and it will give you multiple options. Like I have selected a bar, you can click onto the ellipse as well, you can click on the carrot down option. You can, these are all pro option, you cannot use them. Okay, you need to buy them, but these are for free. So what we'll do here is we'll just use this one. Okay, so then come back again onto this index.html. Now we'll create a div with the class of the hamburger menu. So these are called a hamburger menu. Okay, so the line like looks like a hamburger. So over here what we'll do here is we'll paste a link from here. Okay, you can just click over here and it will already copy your snippet, then you can just paste it over here. So after copying and pasting over here, if you go back to your design. Okay, so here's our hamburger menu. So if you cannot see, so here's our hamburger menu. Okay, so we'll just change this using a CSS. We'll just change the. So now what we'll do here is we'll just change the thing like this one. Okay, so we'll make our navigation bar to open over here, just like this one. Okay, in our new design. So come back to the style.css. Now what we'll do here is now we'll work onto the hamburgers classes. That will be display would be none for now. Okay, and then cursor will be pointer. So why do we put none? Because we do not want it to display all the time, we just want it to be display on the smaller screen. Okay, so and then we'll add a font size that would be 30 pixels. So as you can see, it has already get removed on and the space is completely gone. So now what we'll do here is we'll work on the hamburger, and I is an icon. Okay, so I is the icon, this is the I tag. Now we'll add a color that would be same as our logo. Okay, so you might not see it right now, that is a bright teal color. So after doing this on the hamburger menu, now we'll just do here is what we'll do here is we'll now we'll work onto the same thing just like we did before on the upper part, that is making it responsive. Okay, so now we'll just work from the 768 pixels, we do not want it from the 1200 pixels. Okay, now working for the menu and UL, we need them to get height, display would be none, flex direction would be column. Okay, and then background would be background would be RGBA, and then 759 point, so this would be 0.95. Then we'll have a top that would be around 75 pixels. Then we'll have a right that would be 0, and then we'll have a width of the 200 pixels. Okay, and then we'll add the padding of the 20 pixels, and then border radius would be 10 pixels. Okay, so after doing this, you can see the menu have disappeared, and then now what we'll do is we'll make them appear when we click onto the hamburger menu. Okay, so right now work onto the menu with the UL and then active. Okay, so display would be flex just like before. Okay, and now what we'll do here is we'll work into the hamburger, so display should be block. Okay, so here's our display, that would be block, and then position should be absolute, and then right 20 pixels, then top would be 20 pixels as well. So yeah, it is on the right path. Okay, so now after working onto this, what we'll do here is we'll work onto the same media that would have a max width of the 768 pixels, and now we'll work for the search option as well, because we haven't done change on the search option. That is width would be 100%. Then we'll add a order that would be 2. Then we'll add some margin bottom that would be 15 pixels. Then we'll have a display that would be flex, not block, and then add some gap that would be 5 pixels. Okay, and then after working over here, we'll just work for the search, then search, then have a width of the 70%. So this is the most crucial part on the whole website over here. We're going to search, and then we'll add a btn, then we'll add a width of the 28%. Okay, so now after working over here, now we'll need to do it same for the menu and on other list. Then we'll have some position that would be absolute. Then we'll have a top that would be 70 pixels. Okay, so right below the navbar. Okay, the top would be 70 pixels and right below the navbar. And then we'll add a right that would be 0 again. We'll add width. We'll add some width that would be 90%, and then we will make our menu wider. Okay, and then we'll have a max width that would be 300 pixels, and then we'll have a background that would be RGBA, that would be 0, 0, 0.95. okay, and then we'll have a flex direction of the column. Okay, and then we'll have a padding that would be 20 pixels, and then we'll have a border radius that would be 10 pixels. Okay, then we'll have a display that would be none. Then we'll have some gap that would be 15 pixels. Okay, and then spacing between the item. Okay, and then we'll have a box shadow, add some box. Then we'll add some box shadow that would be 0, 5 pixels, 15 pixels, RGBA. Let's make this 0.3. okay, so after doing this, we'll have a jet index of the 100, and then also we'll need to add a transition that would be all 0.3 as is. Okay, so after working on the menu UL, then we'll work onto the dot menu UL dot active. Okay, and then active will have a display of the flex. After working under the menu UL active, we'll work onto the class menu UL li, that will be list. We'll add some margin of the 10 pixels and 0. Then have a text align that would be center, and then this should be inside over here. Then we'll work on the menu UL li a, that is font size should be around 18 pixels, and then padding should be 10 pixels and 0, and then display should be block. So after doing this, working onto the this section, so it is not working. So why is it not working? Because we haven't added any JS part. So when we click over here, it should open like this one over here. Okay, so it should open like this one. So when we click over here like this, so it should open like this one, but it is not working right now because we haven't added any JS part, that is JavaScript part. So come back again to the index.html. Okay, So coming back to the index.html, after the last part, that is the main part div, so we'll add a script. So inside the script, what we'll do here is we'll add a constant hamburger equals to document dot query selector. It will select the hamburger, so it will select the list hamburger. Okay, it will search for the hamburger. And then constant menu equals to document dot query selector. That would be, it will select unordered list from menu. Okay, it will select the unordered list from the class menu. So then what we'll do need to do here is we'll just need to call it with the add event listener. So when we click, okay, so it will call a function. It will call a function that is menu dot class list dot toggle active. So it will say if it is active or inactive, or it is clicked or not, okay, from the list of so let's check the code again, let's check the website again. So yeah, so it is completely working, as you can see. So it is working, and our navigation bar is working as well. So let me show you an example using a responsive screen. So here's our navigation bar. So these are all our navigation bar, so, and it is working perfectly. So it will automatically go up when we add our content in the middle. Okay, so right now it looks just like this one, okay, over here. So come back over here, come back to the index.html again. So now after working onto the navbar section, we'll now work onto this description or a content section. Okay, then at last we'll be working onto the login box. Okay, so now working onto this craft things slick, powerful and user friendly, this content. So what we'll do here is come back to the index.html. So this is the so come back to the index.html. So this is the end of the navbar. Okay, so here's our navbar, here's the end of the div navbar, and this last div is for the main, which is the whole body part. Okay, so now after doing this, we'll create another div with a class called the content. Okay, and inside this class content we'll have a text section. We'll have a div with the class called the text section. Okay, so before writing the text section, we'll now first of all work onto the style.css for the content part. Okay, content class. And to work onto the content part, so here's the preview again. So we'll work onto the content part. So what we'll do here is we'll just write here a content class, then we'll have a width of the 90% again, then we'll have some width that would be 1200 pixels, and then we'll add a margin that would be 50 pixels, and then auto. Okay, and then yeah, we'll have a display, main thing is flex, then justify content would be space between. Okay, and then align item, that would be flex start. Flex wrap would be wrap, because it will be wrap on the smaller screen, and then color would be different, just a dim white. Okay, FA. Then yeah, we'll have a text section part over here, then we'll have a flex 1, then minimum width would be minimum width will have a 300 pixels. Okay, if that works, that will be better. Okay, so now come back to the content part. Okay, now we'll have here, what we'll have here is, so yeah, now we need to add a text like this one. So I am copying the text from here. So you can just what you can do here is you can just copy the text I have written over here by pausing the video. Okay, So I have a text over here for the h1 tag, and yeah, for the paragraph we can just write a p with the class, let's say par, okay, and then I'll be copying the same text from here. So I'm already saying you, so you can just copy and paste the thing, okay. You can just copy and paste the same thing as you like. So I have done this, okay. So you can pause the video, write whatever I have wrote over here. So let me check, okay. So this is the text right now over here. These are the text that I have just copy and pasted from here to here, and we haven't done any style.css, so it is looking like this, okay. So now right now we need to add a style.css to make it look better, okay. So before doing anything, we'll be adding a button as well, that will add a button, so which will have a class, let's say cn, and then we'll add a anchor tag as well, that will have a this one, and then let's say let's create, okay. So here's our button as well, okay. So here's our button, if you cannot see, so here's our button. So now what we'll do here is we'll do some style.css. Come back to the style.css, okay. So now again distribute the page so that you can work. So here is what we are going to do, text h1. So it is inside the class text section, the text section inside h1, okay, h1 tag. So we have written like class text section and h1 tag, okay. So what we'll do here is we'll give a font size of the 50 pixels, okay. The size are changing as you can see, and then we just want to change the color like this, crafting sleek and powerful, user friendly, to change into the color of this yellow only, and we don't want the rest of the thing to change to the yellow. So to make the changes, we need to go back to the index.html, and the thing that you are going to change, just add a span, okay. I just need a span for the word powerful, and then I need another span for the user friendly. So this is the only thing, though I have put a span over here and here for crafting sleek and powerful, and then user friendly, okay. Not and, the and is completely by itself. I've used span for only these two parts, okay. So working onto these just to make similar, just like this one, okay. So come back to the index.html. Now what we'll do here is we'll work on the text h1 with the span over here, and then we'll change the color to this one, okay. So as you can see, the change in the colors, okay. So it is looking much more better now, okay. So after we added a login box, it will directly shrink by itself and come to its size, okay. So you don't need to worry about that. So it is a step-by-step process on how to make that, okay. So now what we'll do here is now we'll work onto the class paragraph, okay. So we'll add some margin, that would be 20 pixels and 0 from this one, okay. And then we'll have a line height of the 1.5, okay. So as you can see, the changes in the line height, yeah, the change in the paragraph line height, okay. So yeah, after working on that, now we'll work under the class.cn, that is our button, okay. That is our button. Here's our button, class cn, which is our button. And then now we'll work under the background color. So background color would be similar as the logo, and then we'll add a color of the text, that would be white. We'll add a border, that would be none. Let's add some padding, that would be 10 pixels and 20 pixels. Then let's add some border radius, that would be 10 pixels. Then we'll have a cursor of the pointer. So before adding pointer, let's see, we do not have a change in the cursor. So after adding a cursor with the pointer, we have a change in the pointer, Okay, so now as we'll add some transition before, and then what we'll do here is we'll add some hover after about. Okay, so let's change the background to the linear gradient. That would be 90-degree, just like similar we have done. Okay, change in the color from this to the red one. Okay, so yeah, it is looking so beautiful. And one thing I forgot is that we need to remove the underline, that is text decoration should be none. Okay, so yeah, so it is looking much more better. And then we'll add a color of the white. Okay, so yeah, it is looking much more better than before. So okay, so after doing this, okay, I think we should add some font weight as well. That would be bold, and it will just link with this one. Okay, so they are looking much more better right now. Okay, so what we'll need to do here is now, okay, just keep it a little bigger. So what we'll need to do now is we'll just add a responsive thing over here with the max width of the 900 pixels. So we need to change the size of this one as well. As you can see, it is not wrapping around, so we need to change the size. So the content should be flex direction should be column. Okay, so you keep on looking over here and it will change the thing. Online would be center. Okay, so now after working on to these crafting sections and other things, yeah, so to add the login from the, we'll just need to end it over here. So this div over here is of the content and we need to separate from there. So add another div for the class of the firm. Okay, then what we'll do here is we'll add a s2 with the login text. Then yeah, we'll add a I with the class of the fa regular. So this is a user. Okay, so this is, so after doing this, what we'll do here is we'll add some input. So type would be email, and then we'll add a placeholder, that is enter email here. Okay, so just copy and paste it, and this would be, change this to password. Here, change this to password, and then at last we'll add a button that should have a class of the btnn. So this is a double n, and here's we have a single n. Okay, so just to give you a quick reminder, don't put a single n, so it will get error. Okay, or it might not work if you do anything over there. So add over here, then we'll have a login over here. And then yeah, so we'll just finish the whole stuff. Okay, so here's our email, here's our password, and here's our login as well. Okay, so here's our login, here's input email, input password, and a login. And then yeah, so we'll just add everything over here before we finish the HTML part. So let's write here a link. Let's say don't have an account. Okay, then we'll add another anchor tag with the sign up. So if you do not have account, sign up here. So sign up is a not a text, it is a anchor tag, so you can link anything, so you can link to the sign up page over next time. Okay, so after doing this, so what we'll need to do is we need another class that should have a login with. Okay, so let's write here, if you have an account, login with. So after you have a login with, you can add a, if you have an account, then you can log in with a Google or Facebook or anything. So to add a icons, we'll do it with on the next part. Okay, on the next part. So first of all, we need to finish the CSS for this div form. so it can look better like this. Okay, so we'll add this last, is all the icons on the last part. So come back to the style.css. Then now we'll work under the class form. Okay, and then we'll have a flex. We'll have a flex of the 00300 pixels. Then we'll have a background that would be RGBA. That should be similar with this one. Okay, so we just change this to 85, and then we'll add a padding of the 20 pixels, and then we'll add some border radius that would be 10 pixels, and then minimum width should be around like 250 pixels. Okay, so here's the form and here's the h2, and then we'll add a text align that should be on the center, and then yeah, we'll add some colors that should be on the white color, and then we'll add a color, and then we'll add some background that should have a linear gradient. Okay, and yeah, with the 90-degree, and then similar color from this to the right now we'll change it to the yellow. Okay, so this is the thing we are changing. Let me make the size a little bigger so you can see. Okay, okay, let me make it a little bit okay, or you can do it just like this. Okay, and then now we'll add some paddings. Okay, that is 8 pixels, and then we'll have a border radius that would be 10 pixels, and then add some margin button that would be 20 pixels. Okay, is looking perfect. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll just work onto the this one, that is the input. To work under the input, what we'll do here is write a form class and then input, then we'll add a width of the 100%, give some padding that would be 10 pixels. Okay, you can see the changes. Now we'll add some margin top that would be 20 pixels, and then we'll have a background that would be transparent. Okay, background transparent. Now we'll add a remove the border that would be none, then we'll have a border bottom that would be 1 pixel, solid, same color as our logo, and then color should be white. Okay, okay, so it is looking much more better now. Okay, now we'll focus on the form input focus, and then we'll do a outline that would be none. Okay, so we have just removed the outline. Okay, and then what we'll do is now we'll work on the login button, that is BTNN, not BTN double N. Okay, so we'll have a width of the 100%, then we'll add some padding that would be 10 pixels, then do a margin top would be 20 pixels, then we'll have a background that would be same color, and then we'll have a border of the none. Okay, and then we'll have some border radius that would be 10 pixel as well, and then we'll have a color that would be white, cursor pointer. So these are all similar things that we have already done above, and we are just making it for the login box. Okay, now what we'll do here is we'll work under the BTN hover to add some background color that should have a linear gradient of the 90-degree with the similar color from this to the red. Okay, so that is this one, changing the color. Yeah, okay, now what we'll do here is we'll work onto the BTNN with the anchor tag. Okay, so this will remove your underline, so that is the underline over here, and now we'll make a color that would be white again. Okay, so text white, and then we'll add some font weight, that would be bold. So this is our bold. Okay, now after doing this, so what we'll do here is now we'll work into the form with the class of the link, and then with the liw, that is link in width. Okay, so we'll work on this one. So now what we'll do here is we'll have a text align of the center, then we'll have some margin top of the 15 pixels. Okay, so here's our thing, login with. Okay, and then yeah, and now we'll have form with the class of the link, and then we'll work on the anchor tag, that is our this sign up thing. Okay, now we'll just change the color with the little bit blue one, a little bit white one, and then yeah, we'll have a text decorations of the none. Okay, so what we'll do here is we'll just change this one. Okay, so here we have a sign up, and then we do not have any gaps. So okay, sign up here, and then we have a gap over there. So okay, so this is not the color that I've choose, so it was this one. So here's our sign up. So what we'll need to do here is now after doing this, so what we'll do here is now we'll add our icons. So to add the icons, what we'll need to do here is we'll just press enter, and then we'll create a div with a class of the icons, not icon, we need icons, because the icon only without the s, we have used it over here for our logo PROROZ. Okay, so come back down over here, and now what we'll do here is we'll just add a anchor tag with the I with some classes. Okay, so we'll have a hashtag for the hyper reference, and for the class we'll have a fa dash. Okay, then we'll do here is we'll just copy paste this 4 to 5 times. Now right here Facebook. So after doing this, you should see a sign or a logo of the Facebook over here. Yeah, second we'll be adding a LinkedIn. Okay, okay, you can see a LinkedIn profile over here icon, and then we'll add a Google Plus. Okay, and at third we'll be adding a Twitter, and at last we'll be adding a Skype. So Skype is already down, but I'm just giving you an example. Okay, so after doing this, you need to come back to the style.css. Okay, then what we'll do here is we'll work onto the class icons, not icon, it is icons. Okay, so then what we'll do here is we'll just do a display of flex, which is the most important thing, and then we'll add a justify content, that would be center. Okay, and then we'll add some margin top, that would be 10 pixels. Okay, so let's see. So here's a icons. Okay, now what we'll do here is we'll work onto the icons with the I tag. Okay, and then what we'll do here is we'll add font size of the 30 pixels, and then we'll add some margins, that would be 0 and 5 pixels, that is top and bottom would be 0, and right and left would be 5 pixels. And then we'll just do a cursor pointer, and then at last we'll be adding a transition of the 0.3 seconds. Okay, and then one more thing left to do, that is to add a hover, and that is with the color of the same red thing. Okay, so yeah, so this is the end of our website. So let's check if it is working or not. So let's check. So it is working perfectly, as you can see, the home button, the everything, the design, and yeah, clickable, the search bar, they are also working, and the hover button, they are also working, and the login box went down. So let's see. So yeah, okay, so these are all working perfectly, as you can see. Yeah, and it will look like this on the bigger screen, and when you do it smaller, it will look like this one. Okay, so whoa guys, we have built a website from a blank page to this one, and this website was so much fun, and I'm glad I could share it with y'all, and face to face this time, because the last time I posted this face reveal or giveaway or live stream party or fan collab, you chose to do a face reveal thing, yeah, with a 50% vote, and I tried my best to do a face-to-face video with you to make it more easier for all the beginners. And thanks for being the part of this journey with me, and don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and share it with your friends, and share it your thoughts in the comment. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye for now.